I'm not talking about professional photography like shooting rock concerts or lions fighting hyenas. That's indisputably cool. Hey guys, my school had its opening ceremonies 2 weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to play at being a professional photographer. So I'd like to tell you about the experience. First of all, we should set the stage. I don't have any professional equipment. The best lens I have is this pretty good zoom lens. Not great, pretty good. The fastest lens I have is the one on the camera right now filming. That's it. I don't even have a full frame camera. I only have an APS-C sensor camera. But it was my job to be there. And I did have a camera, and I like to take photos. And management knew I wasn't really going to be paying that much attention to everything that was going on anyway, so they asked me to take pictures. And I thought it would be fun. So I thought about the equipment I had, and I thought about the event venue that we were shooting in. I knew it was kind of a dark place in the presentation rooms, and so I knew that I would have to have a higher ISO to get the proper exposure, and I knew that would make the images look kind of grainy. I didn't think that would look good in color photography, so I decided to shoot black and white instead. Now I know this is not a professional choice. Most professionals would probably shoot in color and then convert to black and white later, but I'm not a professional, and I don't have professional equipment, and I'm not as good as a professional. And since there would be a professional there, I decided that if I wanted to shoot black and white, I was going to shoot black and white. So that's what I did. Or at least that's what I planned to do. I drove out to the sticks, literally the sticks. This place is in the middle of nowhere, and it happens to be called the STX, so the sticks. But it was a Friday and a Saturday, where all the parents and the teachers and the administrators and speakers came together to start off the school year. And there were lectures, and there were speeches, and there were ceremonies, and there were some interesting things too. There was there were some North Korean refugees who came and spoke, and even played accordion and sang opera, not at the same time. But when I got to the resort, someone told me that we didn't have a professional photographer there that day. There'd be a couple of student photographers with professional equipment, but there wouldn't be a professional there. I panicked just a little bit, but once I sat back and I looked at the technical reasons I had chosen black and white, in addition to the aesthetic reasons I chose black and white, I decided to stick with black and white. If they weren't going to have a professional there, then they couldn't expect professional level photos. I wasn't being paid, and I didn't have professional equipment, and I couldn't go off and get professional equipment. That's why they're called professionals, and that's why they get paid for their work. I walked around for about 27 hours, sleeping in the middle there somewhere. And for reference purposes, I took about 900 photos, saving them as RAW and JPEG, so total 1,800 files, plus 2 videos, a total of 28 gigabytes of space taken up. I don't know how much that compares to for a professional doing a similar event. Probably pretty low, because I didn't take a whole lot on the second day because I got kind of bored. But it was the most that I had ever taken. Now, I had a pretty good time, but I realized that I was a tourist in the world of professional photography. And like a tourist, you know you're going to be going back home eventually, so you can enjoy it in a different way from an actual person who lives in that place, that space. I was kind of like, those city people who travel to a farm and farm for a weekend or something like that for a vacation, because it feels different and it feels productive in some way, even if it isn't really all that productive. I don't know how much use the school will get out of the photos that I took, but I felt like I was doing something and it was kind of fun. But I'll be honest. I think that kind of photography as a job probably be pretty boring. I don't know that I could do that professionally. As a tourist, so to speak. I was able to go where I wanted. I was able to shoot what I wanted. I was able to shoot who I wanted and when I wanted to. And that made it pretty fun. But when I got bored, I was able to sit down and zone out. Or when some interesting thing happened, like those North Korean refugees, I was able to sit down and watch them perform or listen to their speech. Really touching speech, by the way. I think that actually made it fun. I don't know that there would have been much fun in taking pictures of ceremonies and people shaking hands, and even some of the more rousing speeches after you've had a couple of speeches. I don't know how many more interesting speeches you can find to take pictures of. Professionals don't have that luxury. They have to go around and capture as much as they possibly can and make as many beautiful, amazing, perfect pictures as they can within the time frames that they've got. I know that I'm being a little unreasonable. Even in my own job, there are 1,000 unenjoyable things, tasks that I have to do every day or every hour in order to be able to do the things that I do enjoy in my job. And I have to imagine every single person who has a job anywhere in the world has things that they don't enjoy. I also know that this is just one job of photography. There's wedding photography and rock photography and nature photography and travel photography and, am I counting right? What else is there? There's photojournalism. There are so many other types of photography out there. All I'm saying is that I don't think I would want to do that job professionally. By the way, at this point, if you guys are watching and you like the video so far, do me a favor and like and subscribe down below. Thanks. Something I learned doing all of this photography is that higher ISO images don't look as bad as I thought they were going to look. When I converted some to color, they were actually okay. They weren't great. They wouldn't go on a big poster for sure, but for brochures or small calendars or websites even, I think that some of the images, even up to ISO 16,000, could have been used as color photos. And that was pretty surprising to me. Usually I try to keep it in 100, ISO 100, so that I get as clean an image as possible. But maybe that's not so important. Many photographers on YouTube say to shoot auto ISO and not worry about it. Let it roam around wherever it wants to go. And I thought they said that because they were using $3,000 cameras and they had really fast lenses and they had all this light gathering capability and the sensors were more advanced. And so their images would have lower noise anyway. But as it turns out, it seems that even with the equipment that I had, the ISO noise wasn't as bad as I thought. Another thing I learned was that taking photographs of people I know and like, or participating in an event with them, seems to make more meaningful connections for me in the photographs that I take. More so than in random street photography or landscape photo. I enjoy going out into nature and hiking and taking the pictures that I was taking, and the street photography, even though it was kind of stressful, because I was going up and trying to take pictures of people and I was afraid of, getting punched and thrown, rocks thrown at me or whatever. That was enjoyable in its own way as well. But when I was looking at these photos that I took over the weekend of students that I knew, of teachers and friends that I knew, it was interesting because I enjoyed that more in some ways. And I don't know if it's just a feeling that will pass and I'll go back and I'll reevaluate my landscape photography again and like it more. But when I looked at some of those landscape photos that I had taken a month, 2 months ago, I thought that they were kind of vapid and shallow. And same thing for the street photography. Interesting images perhaps, but not necessarily moving to me. And I know that once I put the image out there, other people can take what they want from the image. They can be moved by it or not, and that's part of the reason people put them out there, is to hopefully move them as well. But maybe that's starting to get on a totally different subject. So perhaps we can talk about that in another video. I want to say thank you to those of you out there who have purchased a copy of The Tangents of 22. I really appreciate it. The response has been overwhelming. Okay, maybe not overwhelming, but it's been good. It's been good, and I really appreciate it. If you haven't had a chance to get the book, it's available on Amazon. I will leave a link below. It's a bunch of stories, mostly science fiction and fantasy, and I don't know, I like them. I thought you might like them too, so that's why I made them available. All right, that's all I've got for you guys today. If you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe too, so you can get a notification when the next video drops. Until then, it's been a pleasure, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.